Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm very happy to have you here, guys. In today's video I want to review a fragrance called Luscious from French Avenue, a sub-brand to Fragrance World. I have the fragrance right here with me. This, you guys, I don't know if it's listed or if it was marketed as an inspiration to Khair Pistachio Gelato, but this fragrance has some similarities to Khair Pistachio from Paris Corner. So in today's video, not only that I will share my thoughts on this fragrance and I will judge it as a standalone fragrance, but also for those people who have purchased the fragrance from Paris Corner, I will do at the end of the video a small or a brief comparison, let's just say, so you know how this fragrance smells like compared to that one from Paris Corner. Now guys, I have two other fragrances from this collection. Let me just tell you how beautiful this collection is. First of all, I love everything about the presentation, from the bottle to the color choices. These beautiful pastel-like shades work so well and they feel so dainty, you guys, and pretty. And even as, like, let's just say on a more superficial level, they are very pretty to look at, you know. But we are not about superficial things here, so I will get into the reviewing part in a second. I want to tell you this fragrance, just like the other two fragrances, were kindly sent to me by the team from the Buy collection for reviewing purposes. However, I'm not paid to mention anything in specific about this fragrance or about the other two fragrances, and I know it might have been a little, let's just say, a bit better if I would have done a video on this fragrance, on another fragrance called Sweet Paradise, and the other one, I genuinely don't know how to pronounce the word, meringue, yeah, whatever. But amongst all these three fragrances, this is the one that I have actually worn myself, so I can give you more of an in-depth review on the fragrance. The other two, I still have to test them. So yeah, I will film a separate video on the other two. However, guys, let's not make the intro any longer and let's just begin. Of course, if you have tried this fragrance, I would love to hear your thoughts on this fragrance. Let me know how it smells like to you if you have both this fragrance and Paris Corner's Khair Pistachio. Let me know how do they compare to you, which one do you prefer. Like I always say, you guys, not only that I would love to know it, but I'm sure everyone who's watching this video interested in purchasing this fragrance could really use your feedback as well. So let's just start with the review, but first of all, let me show you the presentation of this fragrance right about now. So you saw the presentation of this fragrance, you saw how beautifully it comes packaged. Now I will add the notes on the screen, but let me tell you how this fragrance smells like. Now, small spoiler, not so small, I love how this fragrance smells like, you guys. I love how this fragrance smells like. This fragrance, first of all, this is a gourmand, but it's not your typical usual kind of vanillic or vanilla essence or herbal kind of gourmand. To me, this opens up. This in the opening legit smells like pistachio cream, like thick, dense pistachio cream with few drops of vanilla essence, because it does have a slight vanilla-like sweetness, and the vanilla accord here definitely is your vanilla essence type of vanilla accord. Not in a sense that it smells like your aged vanilla essence or anything like this. It just has that bakery pastry like vanilla. But the vanilla is in the background. To me, the main accord that shines the most from the first moment you smell this fragrance till the last bit of the dry down is the nutty pistachio accord. And I have to say, they done it in such a beautiful way here. So like I've mentioned, this opens up with the smell of pistachio cream. It feels very dense, it feels very rich. Luckily, even though it has listed a citrus accord in the opening, I barely detect it, you guys. I genuinely barely detect it. And in all honesty, I'm not mad about it, because citrus is not my favorite note in a fragrance. Like, yeah, you know that most likely if you have been watching my channel for a while. And also, besides this very nutty pistachio accord that's very sweet and dense and rich and flavored at the same time, I detect this slight toasted nutty accord. Imagine, like, on top of that, like pistachio cream with few drops of vanilla essence, you would also add some toasted pistachio flakes, pistachio parts, some small pistachios that you would toast them in prior, because it does exude definitely this toasted quality in the opening. But I'm not mad about it, again, because to me it adds a very different and quite unique energy to the fragrance. So it's not just a gourmand fragrance, it's extremely nutty. the nutty accord feels very realistic, you guys. So realistic to the point where, like I've mentioned, it makes me think of a pistachio cream. So it's safe to say this is a sweet fragrance, you guys. Sweet from the nutty accord, sweet from the vanilla accord. Also, not only that it's sweet, but it's a green fragrance. Look, when you hear the term green fragrance, if you're like me, you might be a little bit scared, because I'm not a fan of green fragrances on myself. Not a green fruity fragrance, not a green floral, not a green citrusy, not a green aromatic, not a green spicy, nothing green. I do not enjoy green facets in fragrances, especially if they are the main theme of the scent, you know, like if that's the accord that shines the most. No thank you, it's not for me. However, the kind of green accord you have here, it's a nutty type of green accord. It's the kind of greenness that comes from pistachios, so it's not a refreshing green. It's not an, let's just say, aromatic green. It's not an herbal vegetation green accord by any means. It's a very dense, warm, full-bodied, nutty kind of greenness. And I have to say, here, this accord in this combination, it gets the job done, and it smells so beautiful, you guys. I also detect amongst all... okay, so let me just say this again. I also detect amongst all this accord, I detect a musky accord, a very similar musky accord to the one you have in Khair Pistachio from Paris Corner. However, the musky accord here, to me it feels breezy, slightly powdery, but very airy. And this is exactly what it adds to the fragrance. So you know how I said the fragrance overall is a very rich and dense and complex and full-bodied fragrance. This fragrance legit has thickness, lots of thickness to it, you know. It's not a flat scent, it's definitely not a thin fragrance. The opposite is a very full-bodied fragrance. However, to me the musk accord here, it's dosed enough to add a little bit of breeziness throughout the scent composition, but not too much to where it cuts from the richness, because to me the beauty of this fragrance is in this quality, in its richness, in a sense, because this richness, it makes you feel much more expensive than it actually is. And not only that it makes you feel much more expensive, you guys, but it also makes this fragrance definitely stand out amongst other fragrances with similar notes. I wanted to compare it a little bit now to the one from Paris Corner, but let me actually wait a little bit until I finish the review for this fragrance, and only after that. I'm trying to be a little bit more organized in my videos, you know? So yeah, this is how it smells like in the opening. It's a very sweet fragrance, sweet gourmand for sure. Also, you guys, it has gentle spicy facets. Interestingly enough, the spicy facets are more pronounced on my skin, but here on these feathers, it's actually that gourmand pistachio cream accord that shines a lot with those few drops of vanilla essence. To me, the spiciness here definitely comes from cardamom. So like I've mentioned, this is a green fragrance. Not only that it's green from the nutty pistachio accord, that's very pronounced, that's definitely the star of the show. Also, you have gentle, slight green facets from the cardamom. To me, the cardamom here, it's not, let's just say, one of the main accords I detect. To me, it just acts in the sense that it adds a little bit of vibrancy to the opening, and it adds a little bit of dimension to the fragrance, you know. So it's not just a gourmand fragrance, you also have some spicy accents at the same time. In a sense, it lifts a little bit the DNA, but without changing or altering it too much. Yeah, now let me tell you how the fragrance evolves once it gets a chance to stay a little bit on your skin. Like I've mentioned, you guys, I have worn this fragrance myself many times by now. I have actually, how to call it, like sprayed it only for reviewing purposes. And what I mean by this, I have sprayed the fragrance and then I was like either on my laptop, either in my notebook, you know, like writing my thoughts about the fragrance. So I know very well how this fragrance changes. This is why I don't have to wait for the heart, for the dry down. I could describe them to you basically with my eyes closed. So how it smells in the heart. In the heart, you guys, it follows a pretty similar DNA, even though I can say that this fragrance is a truly linear fragrance because it does change as it stays a little bit on your skin. However, the changes are subtle, they are not very noticeable changes. To me, it's the ratio between these notes, let's just say, that changes a little bit. And one thing that definitely happens, you lose that toasted quality that you had in the opening. Now, speaking of toasted quality, you guys, I looked up the notes of this fragrance on Fragrantica. When I looked at the accords there on Fragrantica, I saw leathery, I saw woody, I saw, yeah, leathery and woody. Where, you guys, where I generally don't detect a leather accord. I am very familiar with different types of leather accords in fragrances, with suede accords in fragrances. However, to me, this fragrance embodies none of the two. This is not a leathery fragrance, this is not a woody dominant fragrance, it's not in the opening, it's not in the heart, it's not in the dry down. To my nose at least, completely different notes shine. And even though the batch that I have is fairly recent, I don't have the box here with me, but I will add it here on the screen, or maybe you saw in the presentation, because usually I try to add a close-up with the batch of the fragrance in the presentation part as well. But like I've mentioned, even though the batch is fairly recent, to me this fragrance smelled amazing from the get-go. Like, it's not the kind of fragrance that you need to let it sit for a while. It's not the kind of fragrance that, let's just say, feels pretty flat and sharp in the opening. No, I love this fragrance from the first moment I smelled it. Now back to how it smells in the heart. Like I've mentioned, you completely lose that toasted nutty quality in the opening. To me, in the heart is the pistachio cream accord that shines the most. And why I say cream, you guys, to me, I know if, let's just say, this genuinely was created as an inspiration to young pistachio gelato, which I haven't smelled, to me this doesn't smell like an ice cream in a sense. To me this smells like pistachio cream, like thick, dense, very, not really buttery, but very, I don't know the word in English. It smells like pistachio cream, like I've mentioned. However, to me, that powdery musk does go a little bit more pronounced, but still is dosed in a perfect manner so that it doesn't take the shine away from the nutty accord. And the overall fragrance just goes a little bit warmer, and from the heart till the dry down, I can say that I detect crazy changes to my nose. What happens is the vanilla starts to move a little bit, like slowly but surely, it moves a little bit more forward, so it adds even more sweetness to the fragrance. But at the same time, as the vanilla moves forward, the musk goes a little bit more pronounced, and it adds an even more powdery, breezy, airy quality. But again, the main star of the show to me is the pistachio accord used here. It still smells sweet, it still smells dense. It's just now, because of the added musk in the heart and especially in the dry down, that the scent loses a little bit of its thickness in a sense. Even though it does still feel pretty dense, it's just a little bit more breezy in the dry down. Yes, you guys, this is how the fragrance smells like to me. This is how it opens up, how it evolves in the heart, and how it dries down on my skin. Not many crazy changes are happening. Fairly a linear fragrance with few tweaks here and there, let's just say, but this starts off very sweet and this ends very sweet. This is for those who love sweet fragrances for sure. Let me quickly touch a little bit on something. Now, this fragrance, I don't know about you, but I genuinely feel like this was created, or this, again, if this was supposed to be an inspiration of Khair and Pistachio Gelato, this was supposed to be a fragrance for warm weather, and let's just say warm weather only. However, to me, because this fragrance feels so rich, so dense, so thick, and even in the dry down where the musk starts to shine a little bit more, you still don't lose the thickness. It's just you have this overtone of something breezy, airy, and slightly powdery, if you can picture what I mean. To me, this is the kind of fragrance that you could wear during springtime, during summer, and early days of autumn easily, you guys. Even now, where I live, we are definitely approaching the autumn season, and I have worn this fragrance. I have worn it, I know for once I wore it when I went to my dentist appointment, and let me just tell you guys, I felt so chic wearing this fragrance. I felt so good when I wore this fragrance. It's a sweet fragrance. It's very, it's not the kind of juvenile sweet fragrance, or it's not the kind of fragrance DNA that you smell everywhere. To me, this fragrance, even though it's not a challenging fragrance per se, unless you completely despise cardamom and green satin fragrances, but green and nutty, keep this in mind. So like I've mentioned, even though it's not a very challenging fragrance, to me it manages to stand out. And it stands out in such a way, and to me the energy of this fragrance, it somehow feels very chic, playful, definitely very feminine, but in a very light-hearted manner. Yet you still make a statement with this fragrance when you wear something like this, because it's the kind of fragrance that people around you will definitely be able to smell it on you. It's not the kind of fragrance that is like a skin scent. It's not the kind of fragrance that people have to come very close to you to be able to smell you. Even when I was at my dentist appointment for my braces, I was just like laying there on the chair, you know, like my dentist was doing her thing. You guys, I kept getting constant whiffs of this fragrance, and I cannot tell you how good it made me feel. I actually found it very comforting and relaxing to wear this kind of scent profile to the dentist appointment. I don't know why. But yeah, so let me touch a little bit on the season aspect. Like I've mentioned, spring, summer, early autumn, even early to mid autumn. To me, when I wouldn't wear this fragrance is from that time during the autumn season when you have pretty heavy rains. Usually that's the time where you pull out your heavier tobacco fragrances, heavier spicy fragrances, heavier gourmands, let's just say your woody, dark, mysterious fragrances, or those very like heady, heavy indolic florals, if you have a taste for those, you know. So yeah, let's just say once the rainy season hits, up until the winter, I'm not really sure if this is the kind of fragrance I would reach for myself. However, up until that point, it's perfect. I'd say I mainly wore it during the daytime. I don't know if this fragrance as a standalone fragrance I would wear it during the nighttime, but this one during the daytime to run some quick errands, to go and grab a bite with your friend, with your partner, with your spouse, even though I don't know if I would picture this fragrance on men. However, if you're a man and you love nutty according fragrances, definitely try it. If you are not afraid to wear a fragrance that's definitely on the sweeter side, definitely try it. But as always, I would recommend you to start with a sample or with a decant. Now, to try to save a little bit of time, I will just add the performance part here on the screen. But the performance is definitely average or slightly above average. Nothing sort of like a crazy Bismo kind of fragrance, but for a day-to-day fragrance, honestly, I'm not mad about the performance at all. Now, let me spray this one. Let me spray Khair Pistachio. Let me just spray it here on my skin. And let me tell you how these two fragrances compare. See, the opening, they're from two different movies, like two very different movies. This one from Fragrance World opens up with a very pronounced, heavy, nutty accord. The pistachio shines from the opening. However, in this one from Paris Corner, the opening is a little bit like all over the place. It smells citrusy. I get the cardamom. I get a very muted, creamy accord in the background. And then deep in the background, I detect the nutty accord in this fragrance, and that's the pistachio accord, I'm guessing. Yeah, see, but this opens up much less sweet. Honestly, this opens up a little bit all over the place. The opening is definitely not the best part of this fragrance, but luckily, as it reaches its heart, as it reaches its dry down, this fragrance just keeps getting better and better and better. But these two open up in a very different manner. In this one from Fragrance World, the main star of the show in the opening is the nutty accord with those few drops of vanilla essence and with that toasted quality, and you have gentle accents of spiciness, gentle accents of something slightly powdery in a way. But I told you what are the main notes that I detect. Here in the one from Paris Corner, in the opening is the citrus I detect a lot, is this abstract airy accord, something again abstract and very creamy. The overall vibe of this fragrance in the opening is abstract. You do need to give this fragrance, let's just say 5 to 6 minutes to settle onto your skin and then to open up, and then only after that you are able to actually smell the accords to me. I was talking with myself. Yeah, I have to go and buy, I have 2 memory cards at the moment and both of them are quite full. I don't know why I don't delete enough stuff from them. So when I closed off the video, I filmed the outro, I filmed everything, and then I went to check. Guess what, you guys? Guess what? It ran out of space on my memory card. So I have to refilm this part. And I checked and it filmed just 1 minute. But I was telling you about the comparisons between Luscious and Khair Pistachio from Paris Corner. Gosh, I'm so annoyed, but it's okay. I will just go and buy, I swear, like 5 more just to have them. Yep. I don't even know what I was telling you. I will just talk about the comparison all over again. Basically, what I was telling you is that here you have the same nutty accord, but in a sense it's in the base and you have a lot of different accords on top of it. So the overall fragrance definitely goes into a bit of a different direction compared to Luscious, where in Luscious it's the nutty pistachio accord that shines the most. To me, you have here in the one from Paris Corner, you have this creamy accord. Now look, some might perceive it as creamy like tonic. To me, it smells like creamy shaving cream with that cardamom scent, you know? So here you have an accord that feels very creamy. Here you don't have an accord that feels creamy, even though I've mentioned that it feels like pistachio cream, but it feels like a paste, like a much thicker, denser, like the consistency is overall a little bit different, you know? This is much more creamy and muted and subdued in a sense, with that spicy accent from the cardamom. To me here, The cardamom, let's just say, only adds slight facet. It's not as dominating in this fragrance as it is in Khair Pistachio from Paris Corner. So I'd say the order of the note is a little bit different. This opens up with the citrusy blast, and it's a little bit all over the place. Then it goes into this creamy lactonic / creamy shaving cream for me, with spicy cardamom, the spiciness of the cardamom. The cardamom here feels like that freshly grounded cardamom, so it's very green, quite refreshing at the same time, whereas the cardamom here to me in Luscious doesn't shine as much. To me, the main accord that dominates Luscious is definitely that pistachio cream. That's the first thing that you smell from the opening up until the last bit of the dry down. Like I've mentioned, this is the accord that is the most dominant one to my nose, and even throughout different stages as the fragrance develops, this is still the accord that's the most dominant. Let's just say it with different accents, you know. Whereas this fragrance from Paris Corner is a little bit, what's the opposite of a linear fragrance? Like it evolves much more, it changes much more as it stays on your skin. Yeah, I'd say this, you guys. To me, is it redundant to have both? It depends. It depends. Again, I cannot just give you just like this straight of an answer. To me, I'd say this. If you are the kind of person and you genuinely do not want to have more inspirations of a specific fragrance in your collection, then yes, it might be very redundant to have both. However, for me, they are different enough. I'd say to my nose, they are like, in the opening, they're from two different movies, like I've mentioned, but in the heart and in the dry down, they are, let's just say 60, 65%, not even 70% similar, honestly. Yeah, I'd say not even 70% similar, because look, you guys, to me, they open up in opposite ways. Like this one from Paris Corner opens up very airy and then it goes much more creamy. This one from Fragrance World, Luscious, opens up very nutty, like the richness that comes from that nutty accord is incredible. I adore it. And then not that you lose the nuttiness, it's just you have different accords on top that add some breezy, airy, gentle touches throughout that nutty accord. So this opens up the thickest, and by this I mean this one from Fragrance World opens up the thickest, the nuttiest, the most robust, the most full-bodied, the densest in the opening, and then in the heart it still feels pretty thick, pretty dense. You just lose that toasted quality, but then in the dry down is that gentle powdery musk that adds definitely much more of a breezy quality throughout the scent, whereas this opens up the areas the most abstract, and then it goes creamier for sure. Yeah, but I'd say 65% similar. So yeah, which one I prefer more? This one, Luscious, you guys. You know I love my gourmands, you know I love my sweet fragrances, so for me this fragrance works all in all just way better for my taste. So all in all, you guys, I'd say if you haven't tried this fragrance and you were struggling with the refreshing qualities, or perhaps let's just say maybe you just wanted something that feels a little bit sweeter, not even a little bit, that definitely feels much sweeter than this one. If you wanted a fragrance where that nutty accord shines much more from the heart, from the opening up until the dry down, test this fragrance, but get a sample, get a decant and test it for yourself. Because look, you guys, and this is something that I have also mentioned, but the camera didn't film this part, just because let's just say our taste in fragrances matches when it comes to certain fragrances, when it comes to other fragrances, our taste in fragrances could clash, you know. So just because I love a fragrance doesn't mean that you will love it as well, or just because I hate a fragrance doesn't mean you will hate it as well. I have filmed a lot of reviews of different fragrances that didn't really work for me, or let's just say they didn't really move me in any way, and then a lot of people in the comment section told me, oh, I simply adore it, I love it, it's amazing, it's this, it's that, you know. So yeah, be mindful with how you spend your money. Definitely start with a sample, and if you are based in the European Union, USA, UK or Switzerland, definitely check it out on Dubai Collection. They have decants of all the fragrances in their catalog, and they have a lot of fragrances in their catalog, you guys. So definitely start with a sample, get a sample, test it on yourself. But I'm telling you, if you love the DNA, if you love the DNA of this fragrance and you wanted a fragrance that feels, first of all, nuttier, not naughtier, nuttier. Second of all, sweeter, definitely get a sample or a decant of Luscious. So this is everything I wanted to say. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. If you have tried Luscious from Fragrance World, let me know how you feel about this fragrance. Not only that, I would love to know, but I'm sure everyone who's interested in purchasing this fragrance could really use your feedback as well, because do not forget, you guys, fragrance at the end of the day is very subjective. So yeah, as long as you keep it respectful, I invite you to share your experience with the fragrance in the comment section. Doesn't matter if you love it, if you hate it, and also of this fragrance of Khair Pistachio. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget you can follow me on Instagram. If you have any fragrance requests, video ideas, put them in the comment section because I'm taking notes. Yeah, I will see you in my next video, but until then, I want to wish you an amazing day wherever you are. Bye guys.